Disney's certainly faced their fair share of controversy over the past several years, the vast majority of it very well deserved. But amid all of the flops and failures and public relations nightmares that they've had, one of the biggest continues to be the star of their newest live-action bastardization, Snow White, and that is Rachel Zegler. From the moment that she was announced by Disney to be playing the role of Snow White in these live-action remakes that people are already sick and tired of, they had to make sure to let you know that they were very proud to cast a Latina Snow White because they care so much about diversity and representation. And ever since that point, and ever since we heard Rachel Zegler speak about the movie, about the changes they're going to make to the character, about how much it was going to depart from the original, people have been very highly critical of Rachel Zegler, and for good reason. And when you hire 23-year-old woke activist actresses, you shouldn't be surprised when they can't keep their mouths shut. The Snow White movie, which is set to come out next year, has been riddled with controversy and backlash, and in all likelihood is going to be another massive failure for Disney, especially considering how over budget they are on this thing. So you'd think that maybe, just maybe, they might want Rachel Zegler to lie low a little bit. And if you do talk about it, maybe try not to be as insufferable as you normally are. But instead, what we have is a big article from Variety, which paints Rachel Zegler as a victim and once again blames fans. Rachel Zegler on reinventing Snow White and Juliet and facing off against toxic Disney fans. I've watched women get torn down my whole life. All 23 years of your life. You are just so wise and so experienced, Rachel Zegler. And there's a lot of different topics that they hit on here, from the casting in general, the backlash for that, and of course the highly charged political statements that she's been making while promoting this movie. But I wanted to go over a couple of these quotes because I just found it so interesting. As for the line about skin white as snow, Zegler reveals the new film has its own origin story for her name. It fell back to another version of Snow White that was told in history, where she survived a snowstorm that occurred when she was a baby. And so the king and queen decided to name her Snow White to remind her of her resilience. One of the core points in our film, or for any young women or young person, is remembering how strong you actually are. And now we get into, oh, it was just jokes, bro, and blaming the fans. Can't wait for this part. The social media outrage about Zegler being cast as Snow White only got louder as time went on. I'll say this. If Disney hadn't made it some big deal, some big announcement that we're very proud to be so diverse and inclusive and cast our first Latina Snow White, I don't know if there would have been as much backlash. I'm just saying. She began saying in red carpet interviews in the summer of 2022 that her version of the iconic princess wouldn't spend her days pining over a man. She called aspects of the original story weird and said that the 1937 film's prince literally stalked Snow White. Overnight, online trolls took shots at Zegler's disdain for the animated classic. It wasn't just that. There were other clips as well where you could see her saying that she didn't like the original movie, that she was scared of the original movie, all these things that she has now gone on to completely and totally lie about, in the same way that she's lying in this interview to play victim. She grows somber, recalling the hate that erupted during the time. In all honesty, it made me sad that it was taken in such a way, because I believe that women can do anything, but I also believe they can do everything. What she meant to convey was that Snow White wants romance, but has other goals too. I would never want to box someone in and say, if you want love, then you can't work, or if you want to work, you can't have a family. It's not true. It's never been true. It can be very upsetting when things get taken out of context or jokes don't land. The love story is very integral. A lot of people wrote we weren't doing it anymore. We were always doing it. It just wasn't what we were talking about on that day. Well, since these interviews and the backlash, there's been a multitude of reshoots of this entire movie, so who knows what they might have done to try to do some damage control. But listen to this, and it's not just Rachel Zegler that says it, it's Gal Gadot as well. That's something that people often leave out of this. Although, yes, it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek and a little bit sarcastic, joking manner in some of these things, the core of it, how they're changing the story, how it's not about true love, 100%, that is what they were telling everyone. Let's listen to this again.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming of...
Right? So this, even though the first part, it's not 1937 anymore, that's obviously a little bit joking manner, right? But what she's saying now, this is not joking. Right? This is not, oh, it's just jokes, bro, that they didn't land. I can't believe that they took my joke and thought that was real. No, Gal Gadot's the one that brings it up first. She's not going to be saved by the prince. This is not about true love.
About becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere.
That's not joking. That's not joking. And when she gets asked again, I mean, she had an opportunity to maybe clarify or something like that. Is that what she did?
Snow White is different, and it's more of a 2022 version of Snow White. What did you mean by that?
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Right now, that her being hyperbolic, literally stalks or whatever, that's a little bit joking. But what they're saying that's not going to happen in this one is that love story.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no Prince, or a different kind of Prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story, just because like we cast a guy in the movie, right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. Yeah. It's
Right? This is what she's saying, what people will assume is a love story. She's completely backtracking on this. This was not jokes or things taken out of context. This is what you meant. Now, since that time, since all the backlash has occurred, I'm sure behind the scenes with all these reshoots you did, I'm sure they may have felt a little bit differently, maybe tried to change a few things. But these are just straight up fucking lies that Rachel Zegler is now telling in this article. It's just such absolute bullshit. We were always doing it. It just wasn't what we were talking about that day. And then she goes on to be a victim. Zegler's not surprised by what she sees as people's willful misunderstanding of her comments. It's par for the course for an outspoken young woman in the public eye. I've watched women get torn down my whole life, all 23 years of your life, my whole career, all 4 years? We'll watch it in the election that's upcoming. We're going to witness that for a long time, I fear. Sometimes it can feel like we're going back. It certainly felt that way when this was happening. Do you think that men don't get criticized, Rachel? Do you think that Donald Trump has not faced any criticism? You know, you said, oh, it's going to happen in the election with Kamala Harris. You don't think that Donald Trump has been getting torn down and criticized and things like that? Are you fucking joking? This is so insane. And she would go on to mention the Free Palestine stuff that she attached specifically to the promotion of the trailer. Rachel Zegler is a very young, woke activist actress. This is who Disney hired for this role. They were very proud when that happened, but now she has become a complete and total disaster for them. We just recently found out that the Little Mermaid movie actually cost well over $350 million when it was all said and done, that budget. The Snow White budget likely going to be even more than that when it's all said and done. This thing is going to flop miserably for them, and I'm sure that just like she is now, she's going to be playing victim and maybe lying about all the things that she said before, but this is the reality. Rachel Zegler is a massive disaster for Disney, and the more she speaks, the worse it gets for them, especially when she continues to go out and lie about the things she said before to play victim. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.